Hey, I'm Josh French. I am the Sheepdog Gold Ambassador, or actually Senior Gold Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide. Um, this is our weekly after action review for the SoulCon Challenge. We have just finished Hell Week, and so this is 8/14 of 2016. Is this the end of week 4 or week? This has to be end of week 4, right?
Four, yep.
Yeah, because we're about to start week 5, which is it's only a 6-week challenge, so we've got 2 full weeks left, and then we are back out in the world being special forces for God's kingdom. So, what I wanted to highlight tonight are 2 things. First of all, we just finished Hell Week. For those of you who are keeping up with the reading and participating, what Hell Week was intended to do was to really focus us on eliminating things that are even basic comforts. So the exercise was intended to increase past what you are normally doing. The food was very restrictive. And then a lot of us did not just one cold shower, because they did an ice bath test in the actual the challenge where they go to the facility and they're actually out there for 6 weeks and doing all this stuff as a group at this wonderful retreat. Our challenge was to take, I think it was at least a 2-minute cold shower, and a lot of us kind of did that the first day and kind of got used to the suck, and so we just kind of kept doing that. What was that, Tuesday it started? I think it was pretty early in the week.
Yeah, I think it was Tuesday.
Because I've been taking a lot of cold showers, so I know it's been at least 3 days. I did still shave with warm water, so you can hold that against me. Cold shower.
I start out and then I get colder and colder.
It's actually, you know what? It's interesting what your body can adapt to quickly. So what I wanted to express about that is, okay, so we finished Hell Week. Now we're back to the normal clean eating, which is, lean meats, good veggies, good fruits, and very restricted amounts of complex carbs, totally eliminating sugars, totally eliminating simple carbs as much as we can. And I'm sure that's been a challenge for you guys. Clint, and we'll talk about this in a second, if you've got dietary restrictions as far as food allergies on top of trying to do the clean eating, I'm sure your food choices get much narrower. And one of the things, and this leads me to my second point, that I wanted you guys to realize is let's just take a look at what we started. There was about 130 guys from the Plexus Man Cave that said they were interested in doing the challenge. Of that 130, about 42 stepped up and signed on to be part of the 2 pages that we have going on. We have one that is open to the public that is intended for just guys, and then we have a second one that has the exact same information, but our intent of that one is to speak a little bit more specifically about our Plexus businesses because we share that common connection. So of that 42, basically 24 of y'all, I think maybe 26 total, actually did the next level step, which was volunteer to do this thing and want to participate and get assigned to a squad. Both Squad 1 and Squad 2 are active with about 12 to 13 guys per. So we are just under 24 because I count myself in there as well. So we're looking at 130 guys starting out to basically about 20 guys continuing to participate as of week 4. So first of all, kudos to you guys. One of the things that I have found is that this has given me a different perspective on what even the smallest comfort things that I'm putting in front of my relationship with Christ. And when that relationship isn't going well, as you can see, other things start to fall off. So that means you're probably not doing what you need to do. You're probably not growing spiritually, which is what you need to do. and you're definitely not serving the kingdom that the way you need to do. And then for those of us who are doing this, honoring God with our business and our work, it's probably going to impact that too, because it's giving us things and excuses to put in front of where the ultimate power comes from. So one of the things that I wanted us to realize is that those of you 24 or 26 of us that are in the squads right now, and we're completing week 4, regardless of how much of the challenges you have done, I want you to take a no BS assessment right now and say, listen, I'm not getting my 5Ks in. I'm not eating as clean as I should. I should be doing a little bit more exercise. Those are all great, and I want you to be accountable for those. But what I want you to see is, has there been anything that you have identified in the last 4 weeks that you say, you know what, I can do this better because Christ needs me to? If you can say that with integrity and authenticity, it's been worth this challenge. Because I'm not expecting you to be Chris Kyle once we finish the 6 weeks. What I am expecting you to do is to find a better path with God at the center, and to do that with your total body. That's all your assets. So that's your time, that's your physical exercise, that's your time in the Word, and what you are putting in front of you as comforts. So if you can go back and say, you know what, I've done all the challenges and I'm knocking this out of the park, and I've also learned this about my walk. Or if you can say, you know, the only part of it is I've done these pieces, but I've learned this, and I can put this fork down, and this comfort can be limited or eliminated. Those are wins, guys. We are broken men living in a broken world with one perfect person, and that's Jesus Christ as our Savior. And this book and these godly men that have brought biblical counsel into our lives are simply telling us that you need to identify where your weaknesses are and work on them, because God needs us to step up. Okay? So bottom line, for those of you who are watching this recording, what I would like for you to do is, if you can say with integrity and authenticity that you have learned something, you have learned a fork or several forks that are comfort items as described in the SoulCon challenge, that you are eliminating or that you are putting down, please private message me your name and address. Well, your name will be on the private message, but please private message me outside of the squad talks your address, and I'm going to send you a little token of my appreciation, because you guys have been amazing. The motivation and the conversation and y'all's friendship and brotherhood during this time has been extremely helpful to me. So, last thing, and then I'm going to turn it over for some group discussion. I see some real value in doing this 6-week challenge several times a year. I am thinking I'm going to take about 2 weeks off once we end our 6 weeks, and then I'm going to start another class. So you guys that are watching this are class 1. You are the first class to go through the SoulCon challenge with Sheepdog. That's me. And I've learned some amazing things. I think that there are a ton of stuff that I can do better. And I'm looking forward to doing this again. And more importantly, what I'm looking for is to develop some cadre. If you're familiar with what cadre is, those are guys that epitomize the professionalism inside of the military. And you can use cadre for anybody that's a trainer, but cadre in the military are good NCOs that know their job. Well, they're, first of all, they be, know, do. That's the phrase we use in the Army. B, they are the soldier that they are expected to be. They know their job, and they do what's expected of them, not just to standard, but above standard. That's what cadre are. They are the best of the best. And they have been there and done that, and then they turn around and help the brothers behind them learn these lessons and get these skills. So what I would really love to see out of class 1 are some guys that are willing to do this again and maybe actually take over leading a squad, or take over some of these Sunday night conversations, or even run a complete class in class 3 or 4 or 5, or help with class 2, and just step up and say, you know what, I'm doing this again. These were my gaps the last time, and I'd love to be able to take the reins and do this inside of my own group or online like we're doing it. So I would love suggestions about that. We can have some discussions in the squad about what that looks like. But to be quite honest with you, I'm presenting this to my church that I'm joining and saying this is something I want to bring to you guys. This is something I'm passionate about. I just want to be a broken man that's trying to serve Christ physically, mentally, and spiritually. Okay? So, enough of my talking. I would love to hear your thoughts on Hell Week, going into the last 2 weeks of this challenge, anything that you guys want to talk about, because it's the three of us, so we get open reign. Those of you, I understand there's personal commitments. I understand there's time things. So those of you who aren't able to dial in live, this is the awesomeness that you're missing. These two guys right here, that. So, lay it on me, Joel. Looks like you unmuted yourself. You got something, brother?
No, it was an awesome week here. No, it was an awesome week. Monday I was traveling, so I didn't give it all my best in the eating. I got a lot of exercise in and walking at the airport that day, but so I want to give Monday here, this coming Monday, an extra day, eating no carbs. But no, an awesome week. The cold shower, I put in some extra exercise. I think I did 6-7 miles, 2 or 3 days, and yeah, definitely it opened up my eyes. It's good for me to realize that so many of these comforts we have are really, they're not needed. I put myself in a big cocoon of comfort, and I always want comfort. And this whole thing is teaching me that comfort's not number one for us guys. We're not going to get out of this. There's a lot of hard work, a lot of diligence, and everyone wants to be debt free. Everyone wants to be this and that, and so they can just have a nice life. But it's not there, especially for the Christian. We have to keep striving on. So, no, learned a lot this week. I was really blessed and love each one of you guys, how you keep sharing. I hope we can have more conversation, more sharing. For me, I would enjoy if we could have a little more acknowledgement of what we're actually doing each day. Mm-hmm. I think for myself, it would help me if I had to say, hey, today I did the 3K or the 5K, rather than, just some guys saying when they did it and when they didn't. That's just one suggestion I think we could do.
I'm not, I would love to do those polls or something. I mean, there's got to be a way. I like the fact that the squads, when there is a conversation going on, there's a bunch of it. And you're in squad 1. I think all of us on this chat are in squad 1. Mm-hmm. That is much more vocal than squad 2 has been. And that makes a lot of sense because the squad 1 guys were most, for the vast majority of them, were the guys that dialed in that first intro meeting. And so it makes sense. Those were the early adopters. And so, yeah, but I'll see what I can do about getting some better accountability.
Yeah, and maybe it's just for me personally. I think I would definitely perform better if I had to be more accountable. But at the same time, we want this to be fun for everyone. So I understand that we can't make this thing so rigid that no one wants to be part of it either. So. But. Yeah,
but you know what? There needs to be – I think that's part of where I'm going with the cadre piece is I would have really preferred for the guys to just organically have stepped up and said, hey, this is my group of me and another guy or me and 2 other guys or, basically fire teams or battle buddy size elements. That didn't happen. What I'm kind of expecting with the cadre piece is even if guys aren't willing to do full leading of events, maybe they can take a fire team of 4 guys and they have a side chat and they are directly accountable saying, hey, even to the level of whatever it is, because if we're not confessing sin to each other, that's going somewhere, and isolation is an absolute killer for guys. Well, it's a killer for anybody, but especially for guys. that's the way my church is structured. Is they have community groups, and they basically, I have smaller accountability pieces in there, and really they ask them, what was your struggle this week? What are you doing in the Word, and not just the exercise piece. But I think that, I think it makes sense in a group of no bigger than 4 to have that direct daily communication and be detailed, because it's easy to hide without detail.
Sure.
And as we've seen it on the squad chats, it's easy to hide when somebody else is posting, and there's 2 or 3 or 4 guys that are vocal, and then the rest of the guys are sitting there silent. And you're like, dude, yeah. So I appreciate what you're trying to say about it making it easy, but really we're either committed or we're not.
Right.
There's no point in being lukewarm. If guys are having challenges with their time, that's one thing, but that's one of the reasons why I want to do follow-on classes and have a class 2 and a class 3, and lead guys through this 6 weeks again, with probably like 2 weeks to 4 weeks of break in between, and then get back to it.
Yeah, I'm definitely all in for another one. I want to keep this going. This feast day that the book was talking about today, I struggled with a little bit because I was so like, I don't want to give it up. I don't want to have a feast day because I'm on a roll here. I want to lose this weight, and I got to adjust my thinking a little bit on that. But yeah, I'm definitely all in to keep this going, man. This is a life change for me, and I'm loving it.
I had a chance to have lunch with some people that are in my church. They're actually related to my wife. And I was craving Tex-Mex, which, if you've even passed through Texas, that's like a national thing here. Good brisket and Tex-Mex are like mandatory. I know Lonnie can vouch for that. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to do the cheap, cheesy stuff that I know is not going to be good. So I'm going to go up to, we ended up going to Uncle Julio's, which is a phenomenal Tex-Mex restaurant. I'm sitting there, I'm enjoying the chips and salsa. They make tortillas in-house and tableside guacamole. And then when my food got there, which I had kind of a sampler of everything, anything that had cheese on it, anything that had like the sour cream sauce on it, I didn't want it. I'm taking a bite and trying a couple of different things, and I'm like, my taste buds have changed recently. And I've done detox diets before where it's stripped that stuff out, and then you could just kind of taste the grease if you eat any kind of fast food or anything. That goes away quickly because the food is addictive. It's created to be addictive.
Sure.
It's odd. When you're eating lean proteins and you're eating good vegetables and good complex carbs, and your treats are, a couple cherries or some grapes or something, yeah, it's interesting what we can adapt to.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
So even if we're not able to launch another class, if there's just not, because if it's less than 20 guys, it really doesn't make sense to do a class. I'm going to lead the group, anybody from the first group that wants to continue doing the exercises. And even if we don't follow everything from the schedule, I think it's a good guideline. It wouldn't hurt us to go through it again. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to kind of adjust around holidays, because we know how things are in Christmas. But man, I got to tell you something, guys. When I went to convention on June 13th, I weighed in at 284 pounds. That's still 20 to 25 pounds lighter than when I started Plexus 2 years ago. But since June 13th, I've lost another 26 pounds.
Awesome.
That's great.
I'm telling you, this extra exercise and obviously stress from, the stuff I'm going through with my marriage, but I'm still eating. It's not like I'm not eating. I'm doing it differently. I think that the way and when I eat is phenomenal from this thing. So it's allowing our products to work, because if you're shoving, 5,000 calories down your throat each day, there's only so much Triplex can do.
Yeah. Yep.
So, so I'm looking forward to, however you guys want to continue doing this. I'm going to try to launch another class 2 weeks after we end, and throw it out on Man Cave again, see what kind of enthusiasm we get. But worst case scenario, there's like 5 or 6 of you that have been in constant contact with me. That relationship won't go away. I'm looking forward to meeting you guys in person. I love chatting with you online, even if we're only checking in on the messenger and maybe once every couple of weeks on a video thing. I'm looking forward to continuing this as long as you guys want to, because I really value your counsel and I love doing this thing with you. And yeah, so Lonnie,
Good stuff.
Lonnie or Clint, you got anything, brothers?
Yeah, I can talk. I'm walking, so my cut out whatever. But tough for me. It's I felt like I was fasting. It was like day 2, day 3. I was having the hunger pains, and I know it's spelled weird in the book. Maybe that's how it's supposed to be spelled, but oh yeah, I felt like I was on like a 3-day fast. It was miserable, but it really led me to discipline. If you're disciplined, that's what I'm learning on this thing is if you're disciplined and you go through it, there's a payback for it. Like you're saying, losing weight, or like Joel saying, you start to feel good. You don't want to eat. Is if you stick with this, you start to, hey, do this. I'm going to see these results. I mean, these are tangible results, and feel better. It's all good. And then I did good, and then all of a sudden, yesterday and the night before, I started bending the rules of lean meat and all that, where I'm like, well, how much lean meat? I'm thinking the deck of cards, right? And I'm like, well, how about I go to a meat buffet, right? It was like, holy cow, did I eat a lot of it. So, yeah, completely correct. So what the food, no carbs, but ate way too much.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, went to a birthday party, and there was nothing I could eat except watermelon and brats. So I had 3 brats, right? No bread, but I ate 3 brats, and I'm like, I don't know. So a little bit of gluttony on the meat lately. So,
Yeah.
but the crazy thing about this, like, what have you learned? Change. I'll definitely. I mean, I'm craving quinoa. I can't wait till tomorrow to eat quinoa and veggies, and that having veggies and brown rice and quinoa and those types of lean meats. That definitely will be. We ate some of that before, but it's pretty easy to get rid of some carbs.
Yeah.
And so today it was. I didn't realize we got a feast day. I thought it was 7 days of nothing. So when I read that today, I was like, "What? I get to eat today?" I was so surprised.
Yeah, I thought it was too. In fact, you and I talked about it last week, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can make it till Monday. But I didn't want it. When I went and got it, with the exception of the flour tortillas, which was like, it was like manna. I mean, having flour tortillas with a little butter on them, I'm like, I'm blowing it out totally. This is crazy. But, to be quite honest with you, that was the majority of what I ate. And it's weird. And this, to be grateful. I mean, that is really a lesson that I'm taking away from this, to be grateful for the abundance that we have, whereas deserve and I should get this, I'm entitled to this, why can't I have my burger in 5 seconds? That mentality has really gone away from me. Just the appreciation of the blessings that we have in food. We are so rich in this country, and we are really blessed to have ready access to probably 13 different kinds of cuisine, even no matter how small town you are, grocery store and restaurant prepared for stuff. The challenge that we've made is that we feel like we need to have these monster meals 3 times a day plus desserts and snacks, and we're entitled to that. And that's such twisted thinking. And we don't spend that much time thinking about how to serve the kingdom, and I think that that's where Cody's passion came from. In that you're looking at, we are spending all this energy on something that should be a basic necessity, and we are giving not even 10% of this to Christ. And I think that's where his You know, because really, if you find something you hate, that's where your passion comes from, and that's where your probably your mission field is, and that's what he identified. You know, I think once he was broken from the loss of his family members, and he just saw, okay, why are we not able to do this? I think that, man, it's just it's given me a different perspective. You know, and I've eaten clean before, and I've done some great portion control stuff with Plexus, and having to do some elimination diets to try to get my wife healthier when she was in her health crisis. But I never got the appreciation for what we're truly given now. And I'm not going to totally eliminate anything from my diet going forward, but I am sure as heck going to be a lot more serving with my food choices. Does that make sense? You know, be a little bit more sacrificial in saying, you know what, I'm not really entitled to have everything that I want every meal of every day of every week. I need, because my body deserves to serve, because Christ has already done that for me, and there's no way I can repay that, but I want to try and be effective for his kingdom, and I need to be able to be physically able to do that. So, you know what, if I have a big breakfast once a week, cool. You know, we're blessed to be able to do that. But the rest of the week, I'm eating lean carbs, or excuse me, good simple carbs, complex carbs, and lean meats, and I'm watching what I'm eating, and I'm doing more macronutrients than I'm doing processed stuff. And I'm just not adding that crap to my diet. I mean, if that's the one thing that God needs me to give up right now for the kingdom, shoot. Let's bring it.
Amen.
Lonnie, what you got, brother? When are we doing that 5K? I think you're still muted.
Okay, yeah, I've got it. Well, my biggest thing has been the potatoes.
Potatoes, yeah.
Yeah, cutting out the regular potatoes was tough. But, you know, like I said the other day, I've kind of learning to like sweet potatoes. I never really liked sweet potatoes, but had them lots of different ways this week, since that was about it. But yeah, the way I've been eating since we started this has changed. And like you said, I don't want a lot of that stuff anymore that I used to stuff in my face all day long. So, you know, it's better. But this week, I think Clint was saying it's been tougher this week, or somebody was saying earlier, like being on the fast. You know,
Yeah.
that one day of fast was really no big deal to me. I'd never done that before, but I wasn't really hungry. You know, I drink my water all day long, and I don't drink coffee, so all I drink was water all day long. And but I was driving, and I didn't really need it. I didn't get hungry. Didn't have a problem. But this week it's been tough without, you know, cutting out all those carbs. That was really tough. Because what I've been surviving on is, you know, that breakfast of oatmeal and eggs, and then cutting out the oatmeal and just eating egg whites. That's been a bear for me. But, and I'll admit that I cheated a few times. I had some honey roasted almonds, so those were not unsalted nuts, but and some things like that. But I tried to stick with it, and the biggest thing for me has been just fitting the exercise in there and getting it done. Because I'll find something else that I need to do besides push-ups.
Yeah.
Or sit-ups. You know, I can always find something else that I needed to get done.
It's those small compromises that get us farther and farther away. So
yeah,
it's rare that Bible-believing men take huge steps to the left or right of what the path we're supposed to be on. And I've talked about this in a couple of different small groups I've been in. It's these little bitty steps that we take, and all of a sudden we're in the middle of BFE, and we have no idea how we got there.
Sorry about that.
But, yeah, just be careful. This is, your squad and this kind of forum is exactly why God put us in community, is to make those things, hey, this is my weakness. You know what? I inhaled, a pound of honey roasted almonds or honey roasted peanuts, and that's been my gap. I've been trying to get my exercise in. I grabbed a couple handfuls of smokehouse almonds. I figured the benefit outweighed, and I needed some flavor. So I was weak too. I feel you, brothers. But I had no carbs this week, and with the exception of today was the first. And that, flour, I don't really eat a lot of flour. And I told you guys, I think earlier in this week, random cravings for a bologna sandwich came into my head. I mean, I don't even know where that came from, but I'm like, first of all, I don't really eat bread. And second of all, I really haven't eaten any cheese lately, and then bologna, which bologna is awesome, so I'm not knocking bologna.
Well, I'm gluten intolerant, so flour, wheat flour hadn't been a problem for me, but you find other carbs to substitute, and so that's what I've been doing. But just a grilled cheese sandwich sounded really good all week.
Oh yeah.
Like I can't have the cheese, but I can't have the bread. So
yeah. I've really noticed that my craving for sweets has pretty much been eliminated. And I have a huge sweet tooth. It's been hot, so every once in a while I've been, it's Texas, so you pass Sonic every 5 feet. You're like, man, $1 ice cream cone sounds really good. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, I really don't want that. I'm pretty happy with an unsweet tea, which I usually only, if I ever have one of those, it's like one a day, but I love the Sonic Ice. And if I'm looking for something cold, it has no sugar, and it's, mostly water.
Yeah.
So that's been my treat, but that's it, guys. I just really want to say that I appreciate y'all being on this journey. I'm going to take some time and get your suggestions of what the next class needs to look like, what we can improve on, what we need to sustain. And then regardless of what that next class or when that is, I would definitely love to stay in touch with any of the guys from this original class 1 that want to just continue doing the weekly exercise, 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, a couple 5Ks in there or more if you can do it. Trying to, improve your push-ups and sit-ups and, because honestly, those very simple exercises are going to keep us in this fight. So if you don't have anything else for me, I'm going to go ahead and end it. We're actually getting done. Seems like we can't get done in less than 45 minutes, but oh well. It's because Josh can't shut up.
Not too bad.
All right, guys. Y'all have a blessed week.
Thanks.
Be good.
All
Get
right.
better.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good.